and it relaxes to take an exhale breath. And so we're going to use that muscle and that work to actually help our body relax the muscles around our spine that can sometimes tighten up when we have pain. So try taking your inhale breath in through your nose and imagine sending that breath down as low into your lungs as possible. And then when you exhale, blow out as though you're blowing out through a straw. One of my new favorite relevant cues, like you're blowing your own mask off. Thankfully, in this class, we don't have to wear our masks, but you guys, I'm sure, can imagine what that might feel like. Again, try that inhale breath in through your nose, and then exhale, breath blowing out and releasing that air. And even with just this gentle breath pattern, you may feel some muscles in your back start to relax a little bit, start to let go onto the mat. We'll try 2 more breaths just in stillness before we add in some movement. And we can actually use our breath to encourage certain patterns of movement. And I'll cue you as to what those patterns are. So on this next inhale breath, we'll hold our spine steady, but on our exhale, try rocking your tailbone back towards your face as though you might press your lower back into the ground. And then inhale, create space intentionally under your low back. Exhale, close the space behind your low back. Inhale to open that space. And I want you to work within the range of motion that's comfortable for your body. If this is the first moving you've done today, this opening and closing of the space behind your low back might be tiny. It might be a matter of centimeters or inches. If you've done some moving and you feel comfortable going in a bigger range of motion, that is also fine. Just make sure that you're still breathing here. And if anything, using your breath to guide your movement. So exhaling when you rock the tailbone towards your face, inhaling when you release it away. Exhale to rock back, inhale to release away. Our goal with this one is to just start isolating some movement to our very low back, as well as to bring some blood flow to the tissue to warm it up. We'll do just once more like this. Good. And then settle somewhere into the middle. Walk your feet together, knees together, rest your arms down by your side. From here, we're going to start gently taking rocks from our low back, rocking side to side. So it's okay for your hips to lift here, but I want you to keep your shoulders down on the mat. Keep your knees together and your feet together as though your one leg is moving in isolation, keeping the backs of the shoulders heavy on the mat and the neck long. Continue to breathe in any pattern that feels comfortable here, and only rocking the legs as far as you can go without any pain or discomfort. That's it, guys. We have 3 more here. Good. Last 2. And 1 more time here, and then gently come right back to the center. Now, we're going to pay a little bit of attention today during class about the differences from the 2 sides of our spine. It's very normal to have differences in our body, but it can be helpful to know what those differences are when we decide how to do certain types of movement. So the first thing we'll test today is pulling the knees in towards the chest one at a time. So you'll take your hand behind the back of your left knee, give it a gentle pull in towards your chest and place it back down. And then the same thing on the right side. This should be comfortable. If it gets to the point where it's pinchy or sore, stop right before that point. But one thing that may help you here as you alternate side to side is to gently press the opposite foot down into the floor. Now, if you're someone who tends to be quite flexible, this may not feel like a very big stretch for your body, in which case you can try pulling both knees in towards your chest at the same time, and then placing them back down. So that is an option here as well, if that single leg version doesn't feel like a very big stretch for your body. And you may feel this stretch in the back of your hip, but some of you may actually feel this stretch in your lower back. And that's all relative to where the different tight spots are in your body. Good. We'll do 3 more just like this. That's it. And 2 more. And last time, good. And we'll place the leg back down. Now that mobility is the type of mobility that you need in your hips to be able to bend over without stressing our back. So if that's something that was tight for you, definitely practice that one. It's a very easy exercise you can do in bed, even right before you get out of bed. Now from here, we're gonna work into some strengthening for our glute muscles. So walk your fingertips in, or rather walk your heels in close enough to be able to tap them with your fingertips. If you cannot, walk them in as close as you can, and then ground your arms down into the floor a little bit wider than hip distance and lift your hips into a bridge. In this position, you should feel your butt muscles working. If you're not sure, bring your hands to your butt muscles, check in, feel that they are contracted here. If you feel the work in your low back, it's probably because your lower back is a little arched here. So draw your ribs down to create a straight line from your knees, hips to shoulders. Now you can choose to just hold this bridge position or tap your hips to the mat and lift up for an added challenge of continuing to work those muscles here. Grounding the big toes down, softening the space between your ribs and hips, good. Pushing into both feet, leaving your neck long, keeping the shoulder blades down on the mat the whole time. You've got it. We go for 3 more and 2 more and 1 more time there, and drop your hips down, take a little rest. Now, we also have muscular support when we bend over, and that's what that exercise focuses on, is the glute muscles that support us when we bend over. So if you said, yep, I have great mobility in my hips, but bending over still bothers me, that might be more of a strength or a support issue. So what we're going to try next is building on that strength. If this set with double leg was really hard for you, I want you to stick with this. But if you feel ready for a progression, you're going to take your left ankle on top of your right thigh bone. Keep it there with your arms down by your side. We're going to lift and lower. So now it's just your right leg doing that lifting and lowering. You, of course, will feel that this is a little bit more challenging than the double leg, but I just want you to notice how it feels for your body as well. Are you wobbly, or do you feel pretty strong in this setup? This also happens to be a nice passive stretch for the piriformis on our left leg. Good, 2 more. Lift and lower, that's it guys. Once more here, and drop back down. We're gonna try the other side now. So take your left foot down, take the right leg up, and cross the right ankle on top of your left thigh. Now again, you can always go back to that double leg version if that's more comfortable for your body, but we'll try the same thing here. Now lifting and lowering with your left hip. Now you should still feel this in your glute muscles, so you can check in. It's much harder, as you guys can see, in this single leg version. And you might notice that, wow, this side is way harder than the other one, or maybe this one's way easier. And that's just something for you to notice about your body here. 2 more. That's it, guys. 1 more time. And bring it back down and rest both feet down. You can allow your legs to gently rock from side to side once again. Awesome. So we're going to now look at the side to side strength of our abdominals. So we have some abdominal muscles that work together for both sides of our body, but we also have what you guys probably know as your obliques, which work to help support one side in isolation. So we're going to explore that a little bit now. I want you guys to find a position where there is a tiny bit of space under your very low back, but there is minimal space under your rib cage. And that would be our body's neutral spine, so our most natural spine position. From there, reach your fingertips up to the ceiling, your palms face away from your body. Lift your right leg to tabletop and your left leg comes up to meet it, and just hold here. Now this might be challenging. If you felt your whole low back lift, work to press your rib cage down, but still leave that small space under your low back. We're going to start with our left side here. You're going to reach your left arm, left leg away from your body and back in. Left arm, left leg, pull back in. Add your breathing. We exhale as your arm and leg reach away. Inhale back in. Modification is to reach up a little bit higher. Challenge is to reach down a little bit lower. But I want you to only go to the point that you can keep your spine totally still. So if I put a marble on your belly, it wouldn't move even a centimeter here. Good. Once more. And then go ahead and hug your knees in towards your chest. You can gently massage and rock your low back from side to side. So we'll now take and explore what the support for our right side spine feels like by setting up in that same position. So legs to tabletop, arms reach up towards the ceiling, fingertips face away from our body. From here, keep your left side steady, reach and extend your right leg out and bend it back in. And find that sweet spot where your trunk can stay totally still despite the movement of your right side. You can modify by pushing up a little bit higher towards the ceiling or challenge by pushing down lower towards the floor. Exhaling when you reach away. Inhale, bend back in. 2 more. We exhale, reach. Inhale, back in. That's it, guys. Once more. Exhale, reach. Inhale, bend back in. Go ahead and hug your knees in towards your chest once again and gently rock from side to side. Now we're going to take this rock right on up to a seated position. So if you can give yourself a little bit of oomph to come all the way up to sitting, and then we will find a gentle extension of the legs in front. Now, if you have a history of sciatica, I recommend bending your knees. If you also have very tight hamstrings where you have to sit super slumped to have your legs straight, bend your knees a little bit here. With your legs reaching out in front of you, we're going to take a gentle stretch of the hamstrings. Place your fingertips on the floor, drop your shoulders away from the ears, and then we will slide our hands forward to the point where you feel a gentle stretch, but not pain or pulling or intense tightening. It actually helps our body to get a deeper stretch to be able to relax into the position. Sometimes we try and push our stretching so far that our muscles actually tighten up in response to that stretch. We'll slide back up, hands stay down, take an inhale, and again, we exhale, slide our hands forward. That's why I like to keep the hands on the floor here as well. That provides a little bit of support for our upper body so we can relax into this position. Keep your neck long, your shoulders down away from the ears. We'll come up and try just one more time here. Slide the hands forward, taking that gentle fold to the point where, again, it's just a gentle stretch. You shouldn't be having zinging pain down your legs or tight, intense cramping feelings. So back off a bit to the point where you are comfortable. Good. And we'll take one more breath here. And now we're going to add in a spine twist. Now, if the spine twist doesn't feel good for your body, you can stick with this forward folding motion we just did. But what we'll do is take your left foot across your body to the side, to your right side. And you may place your foot down by your shin. If you're more flexible and you can bring it up to your knee or even past your knee, go ahead and do that. Sitting up nice and tall, you can give yourself a gentle hug and you may feel a soft stretch on the outside of your left hip. If you don't feel that stretch, chances are you are sitting a little bit slumped here. So see if you can tip your pelvis forward, lengthening your spine tall, and then add that gentle pull. Now we will take this into a spine twist by taking the outside of the right hand around the leg, opening your left hand free and place it to the floor behind you. You want to turn your shoulders towards your bent leg. Now, sometimes when we do this, we end up slumping again. So see if you can stay tall. Think of the twisting almost happening from the upper half of your body and still feeling your hips grounded down into the mat beneath you. Grow a little bit longer and taller through the top of the head. Take a big inhale, breath in. And then an exhale, breath out. We're going to do that same sequence on the other side. So you can release that left leg away. You can keep a soft bend in your left knee here if needed. We will bend the right leg and either place it across your body on the floor next to your shin or perhaps a bit higher up by your knee if you are more flexible. Sitting up tall, you can pull your right knee across your body gently towards your left shoulder. And your shoulders are still square, like kind of facing where your left toes are at this moment. Continue lifting the top of your head tall, like you're holding a glass of water on the top of your head, and add that gentle pull in. We'll try one more breath here before we add in that optional rotation, which we'll take by now wrapping your left arm around your right leg, releasing your right hand, reaching it back behind you, and opening your shoulders to the right. Drop your shoulders away from the ears. Keep lifting the top of the head tall. Continue to turn and rotate your chest, breathing as deeply as you can down low into your belly. Maybe noticing if this side feels a little bit more challenging or maybe less challenging than the other. We'll hold and breathe for 4, 3, 2, and 1, and release. Excellent. Now we'll try something here. We're gonna find ourselves onto our stomach, but let's try a little abdominal exercise to get there. So with your legs reaching out in front of you, extend your arms forward. We're gonna try and lie down as slowly as possible. I'm gonna count to 8, so try not to beat me on the way down. We'll lower for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Your head drops back. Whew, those are tricky. So from here, we're gonna flip on over to our stomach. The best way, and this is actually a really good tool for some of you guys who have pain with turning in bed. I want you to imagine here, your body is like a log. So it's gonna roll as one unit. And the easiest way is to bend one of your knees, one of your arms. You're gonna push into that knee and arm at the same time, roll to your side, and then all the way to your stomach. And that's actually how you create rolling without twisting in your spine, which can be painful for some people, especially in certain directions. So now that you're on your stomach, line up your hands under your shoulders or maybe a little bit wider than your shoulders. You can also separate your feet a bit here and maybe even turn your heels together, toes apart. From this position, push your hands down into the mat and start to open up, lifting your heart and chest and gently melting and lowering back down. Maybe you're more comfortable just lifting into your upper back, but if you are comfortable coming all the way up into your low back, go ahead and give that a try here. And I do want this to be comfortable, but if you're getting any kind of pinching in your low back, try thinking about lifting your rib cage away from the floor as you're lifting up, and that will give you a little bit more support in this position. As you're lifting and lowering, this is a position of spine extension, which is the opposite position of bending forward or the position we spend sitting. So this is very common to be tight in this alignment. You guys have got it. Good. Push down, lift up, soften and lower onto the mat. We'll try 3 more. Dropping the shoulders away from the ears, letting your arms do the work here. Pushing away, opening heart and chest, good. And we have one more time just like this. Pushing on, uplift, we'll hold at the top, take a big filling inhale, breath in through the nose. And then an exhale breath to gently lower and melt down onto the mat. And then we'll go ahead and push up and back. And now take a child's pose or a shell stretch. So you're gonna sit your hips backwards, walk your fingertips forward, and maybe allow your forehead to rest onto the mat. If your knees do not allow for this stretch, you can keep your hips high and lower your chest and head down, taking more of a puppy dog stretch. So either of those are fine for your body here. Allow your belly to fill with air. And then gently release. Now we're going to come into the seated position for our next movement. I recommend if you're able to sit cross-legged, you can do so here, but if not, you can choose to have your legs in front of you or even off to the side. So any position that you can sit on the floor is fine. We are going to take a side bending movement. So we've looked at twisting our spine. We've looked at bending forward and bending backward. Side bending is the last plane of motion we'll explore. So open your fingertips wide, take up as much space as you can, sitting tall. We start to gently dive our arms up and over. And I want you guys to keep this within a range of motion that is comfortable for your body. And that might be different from side to side. So just notice it. If you need to modify for any shoulder discomfort, just bend your elbows slightly here and allow your spine to move freely. But notice if here you start slumping again, see if you can pick the top of your head up tall, and then we'll actually allow you a bigger range of motion here. Now we're looking at this side bending as a preparation for one of the bigger strengthening exercises we do in this class, which is a side plank. Good, that's it, guys. We have 4 more here. Reaching out, up and over, and 3. Good, we're gonna add in a little twist in 2. And last time, let's pause with our left hand down, right arm up to the ceiling. If this feels good to just hold this stretch, you can do this here. You should feel that stretch in your right side body. If you'd like to twist and add on a deeper stretch, take your right hand towards the floor in front of you and then open it back up to the ceiling. So you're gently turning your chest down to face the floor and lifting back up. You may not be able to tap the floor here, and that's okay. Just work within the range that's comfortable for your body. This rotation here is thoracic rotation. This is actually for our upper back, but it's also a spot where a lot of us tend to have some tightness, and that can reduce the stress that our lower back experiences on a day-to-day basis. We'll do just once more on this left side. And then we're going to seesaw our arms up and over, taking the hand down to the floor on the right, opening up for a left side body stretch. From here, you can gently turn and rotate to tap the left hand down, rotating to open to the ceiling. Exhale, rotate, tapping left hand and opening back up. So very good. Finding the push of your right hand into the floor as you turn your chest down, reaching that left hand towards the floor. You guys have got it. These look great. I love the modifications I'm seeing. You can bend your elbow here, of course, for any shoulder discomfort. Once more, just like that. And then we'll come up and take a little rest. Okay, so we've talked a lot about side-to-side differences today, and we've looked at strength. I think one of the best ways to tie that all together is looking at a side plank. Side planks can be very challenging, but we're going to start with a super modified version and build only if that feels comfortable for your body. We'll start with our left side on our left forearm. I recommend that if you have a mat, you use your mat to help line up your body so that you know you're in a straight line. So I'm going to bring my left elbow to the back edge of the mat, my left hip to the back edge of the mat, and then my left knee. And this one can feel funny. Oftentimes we bring the knee too far forward. Bring the knee back and your feet will go behind you. So you're kind of in this staggered position. Now, step 1 here is to think of lifting your ribs away from the floor. So this alone here is actually a modified side plank position. So my bottom core, my left side, is working a little bit to lift my ribs away from the mat. So this is step 1. If you feel good here, we're going to lift the hips, and that's step 2. And just hold. Okay, we're going to do a second side plank, and we will extend the legs if that feels comfortable for your body. But sometimes I think a couple of you are too high. I want you to actually lower that bottom hip so you are in a straight line from your side body. Your shoulders are stacked and your hips. We hold for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back down. Good. Now we're going to try one more like that. And if you would like to extend your legs for an added challenge, you can either stack your feet or stagger them. And if you stagger them, your top leg should be in front. So from here, same thing, we're going to lift the hips. Top arm can reach to the ceiling. Stack the hips, stack the shoulders. Press the floor away from you. You can feel how both your bottom hip and your bottom core are working. We hold for 4, 3, 2, and 1, lower down. Whew, those are tricky. So we're going to take a look now at our second side and see how that one feels in comparison. So we'll start with that modified version. Right elbow goes down in line with the back edge of the mat. Your right hip is in line with the back edge of your mat, and your knees are also in line with the back edge of your mat. From here, you're going to lift your ribs away from the floor. Maybe you stay with this version. If this is tricky for you, stay right here. If you'd like to build, lift your hips off the mat. You can even add a gentle squeeze of your glutes for a little bit of extra support, reaching that top arm up to the ceiling. Notice if your shoulder feels like it's doing all the work, try dropping your bottom hip down an inch and pushing your elbow away from you. You've got it. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower back down. We'll take that same side plank, or if you'd like to try extending the legs, you can do stacked feet or staggered. And if you stagger, your top leg goes in front. We'll try that same thing. This is our final side plank here. Go ahead and lift up, reaching the legs away, and hold. Push the elbow into the mat. This is a shoulder exercise too. Keep lengthening the fingertips. We hold for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come down and find yourself in a comfortable seat. Whew, awesome work, guys. Now, I know those are hard, and I think that they will quickly reveal to you what side you might need to do more work on. And it's not always your painful side that's the weaker one. Sometimes your painful side is the one that's been taking the work or maybe being overused from the other side being a little bit weak. So just something to play around with and practice. We're going to finish our class here with some breath like we began. So sitting up nice and tall, we'll take an inhale to reach, lift and lengthen the fingertips. Exhale to release and lower your arms down. Again, another inhale, lift and grow tall. Exhale, keep that height as you lower your arms back down. And last time we lift, lengthen. Exhale, release and lower your arms down. You guys can give yourself a little pat on the back and